Yo guys, what's up? It's XRAYZ and welcome back to another video. So I'm actually pretty excited. So Nintendo, it looks like, is closing in on a deal for the next big Nintendo IP movie that could be coming, and it could be The Legend of Zelda making its theatrical debut, and I am so excited for this. Once I saw that they were doing the Mario movie, which was also a really smart idea to start with Mario. It's probably their most widely appealing IP for children and stuff of any of the games. But once they had kind of that already out and people saw it and it did so well, over $1 billion at the box office, which is actually insane. One of the best, making in terms of box office numbers of any animated movie ever. Which is actually kind of insane. And then they like doubled down and were like, you know what? Other movies are coming out. We're just releasing this digitally so people could just buy the movie digitally like a month after the movie. I don't even think a month went by after the movie came out that they started selling the digital version of it. But that movie did really well and it put a lot of money in Nintendo's pocket. And then shortly after that, there was rumblings that Nintendo had actually used some of the money to purchase a movie studio. And it looks like that was another sign of like, hey, they are taking into consideration how well the Nintendo movies are doing with Mario and stuff, that they were like, you know what, let's just keep doing it. And they've insinuated that they wanted to do more. And just the other day, about 24 hours ago, a rumor or a report came out that the Legend of Zelda movie deal was reportedly closing following the Super Mario Brothers movie's big success. And when I saw the Mario movie and I saw like that this movie came forward and it did well, I was so excited because I knew this meant that hopefully we would be getting more Nintendo Cinematic Universe stuff in the future, the NCU. And the movies that I'm most excited to see in a movie format were Mario. They were Legend of Zelda being the highest one that I care most about. Like I would be so happy with a Legend of Zelda movie. Metroid would also make another fantastic movie. There's just so many things that they own or are third party to that they could totally like flesh out in a movie. And so I'm really excited that the next one is going to be The Legend of Zelda. Now, this, it says, we have an article from Screen Rant, which I will link down below for you guys that want to check it out. But it says, following the success of the Super Mario Brothers movie, the next Nintendo video adaptation in the works is The Legend of Zelda. Launched in 1986, the video game franchise follows the adventures of an elf-like hero named Link, who embarks on quests to rescue Princess Zelda and defeat the main antagonist, Ganon, in the magical land of Hyrule. Despite The Legend of Zelda's massive success over the years, a movie adaptation from a major studio has never gotten off the ground. Now based on a tip received by Jeff Schneider via John Roca, Universal is reportedly closing a big deal with Nintendo to make a Legend of Zelda movie. Screen Rant has reached out to the studios for comments. Read what Schneider said on the Hot Mic podcast or watch the video down below, which they have over here. But it says, and this is where the source came from. It was from a podcast. It said, and quote, "I'm told that Universal is in fact closing on a quote big deal unquote with Nintendo Corporation for The Legend of Zelda. Zelda is looking like the next big Illumination Nintendo franchise, which we were all sorts of expecting. I'm told that it is happening." Now here's the thing though, before we continue on with the article, because they also bring up their own points here, but I don't know if Illumination Studio is the right studio to do a Legend of Zelda movie, because I feel like you need to have a certain art style for it, and it feels like they're more cartoony, bubbly kid stuff. And when we get down to the nitty gritty of it, The Legend of Zelda, if you wanted to, could totally be a standalone like PG-14, PG-13 kind of movie. Because it has a lot of dark scenes. A lot of the games have a lot of like just like stuff you probably wouldn't want kids to see. A lot of imagery of like, especially games like Majora's Mask, or you know, if you see Ganon and stuff like that, it's a little bit darker. Some of the stories are a little crazier in terms of, you know, the princess being like, you know, it's not like Mario where it's like, oh hey, you know, Bowser's in love with Peach and he's trying to kidnap her and all that stuff. This is more of a darker story of a guy who's literally trying to take over a kingdom and kills people, and we've seen some killing in the new Tears of the Kingdom. I really hope that they don't dumb it down for kids. Like, that's going to be the thing for me. Like, I don't want them to do some bubbly story. I want it to be like something like what they took, the risk they took with Tears of the Kingdom, with the story I've seen so far. I haven't completed the game. I'm like 70 hours into Tears of the Kingdom, and it's getting to that point where I'm like kind of sad. I'm starting to get sad because I know the game is winding down and I'm getting close to end game. But from what I've seen so far, and even with Breath of the Wild, it was just very sad and melancholy with like all the champions dying in the last game. And this one, you see kind of the progression of where Zelda went, what she's doing, and the story is kind of surreal. It's just crazy and a lot more emotional than I thought it was going to be. With Breath of the Wild 2, I felt the same way, where I felt like guilt, like survivor's guilt through a video game character, because Link, or me is who's playing as Link, was the only one who survived from 100 years prior. And then in this one, you also have just like, you feel bad for Zelda. Like, it focused a lot on her and what she was going through and the struggle she was going to kind of go through, and just how brave and strong Zelda is, and so I hope that they do it justice and they don't hold back. And if you want to go with a darker tone on, you know, Legend of Zelda, I'm totally for it, man. If you want to go like a Majora's Mask type vibe where you have some crazy characters on there, I feel like they need to do a good job, and maybe Illumination is in the studio for that. So I mean, it is what it is, but that's just my opinion. We'll see. We were blown away. I was personally blown away. A lot of people were blown away with the quality of the Mario movie, so who knows, maybe they could do it. I don't know. Anyways, continuing the article, it says video game adaptations have been the trend recently, with a runaway success of HBO's The Last of Us and the Super Mario box office. The latter of which was achieved despite middling reviews from critics. The Super Mario Bros. Movie was produced by Universal under its Illumination banner, so it makes sense the studio is now pursuing a deal for another Nintendo adaptation. In addition to being iconic, Zelda is also quite a prolific franchise spanning 20 mainline games, including the new Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom that released last month. Then I saw someone also mention that they think that if they did do one, Toon Link might be the best art style of the Legend of Zelda games for a Illumination Studio one. But I really want like a Tears of the Kingdom style one, maybe like a Twilight Princess one that's a little more realistic, but you know, it really depends on what they want to do with the story. We saw the Mario movie did have a story. It did. It wasn't really fleshed out the way that you would think it is, but it's Mario. It is what you expect. I did enjoy the Mario movie a lot. I enjoyed the origin of, like, you know, getting to see Mario's family and all that stuff. So I feel like in the future they could expand more now and do more, but I feel like Nintendo also is like, the story is kind of secondary to the gameplay, and they need to kind of change their mindset for movies, because it has to be more narrative and story driven, because it is something you consume, you don't play. And honestly, with the stuff I've seen in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they could totally make a movie based around a story like that, and they could really go into it. So I'm excited. Also, it's going to be kind of weird seeing what Link is going to sound like if they give him a voice actor. Maybe they decide not to give him a voice actor. Maybe it's just grunts. So we'll see. But then to finish the article, it says, while Legend of Zelda movie is long overdue, it might be a difficult adaptation to pull off. Legend of Zelda has been considered unadaptable since its primary protagonist, Link, and many of the supporting characters never speak. This means a movie would likely have to rely heavily on the visuals and music if it wishes to honor the spirit of the source material. Pixar's WALL-E has success telling the story with minimum dialogue, so there's no reason why the Legend of Zelda movie couldn't do the same. And that's true. Like, WALL-E did have like literally almost no talking from one character, specifically from WALL-E, so they could totally have it based around his mannerisms, his actions, and maybe like towards the end have him say something, have him talk. Like, when people freaked out when Pikachu talked at the end of that movie, people were like, what the so they could totally do that. So we'll see, but I am excited to see this. What art style would they go with? What the story would be? How hardcore are they going with this? Are they just gonna make this like kid friendly? I don't know. And then would they make Link talk? Like, I feel like maybe it's about time that Link talks, just to see what happens. I don't know. Pick someone who is like has a dark toned voice, who's seen some stuff maybe, or maybe it'll be another origin story. You could totally do that with like a younger Link kind of being thrust into this universe, into this world, into this conflict, and you could have like a younger voice, and then you could see him kind of progress in age. Or, you know, like, also, I mean, like, would you continue the same universe, or like if you did more Zelda movies, would you have to just do new Links every time? Probably. and that would be endless material for movies for them, so we'll see. But thank you so much for watching the video. I wanted to talk about this because I am so excited for a Legend of Zelda movie. Once I saw that we're making the Mario one, I was like, this could, I really was praying and hoping that Mario movie would do well so that they could be justified in making another one and, you know, make their bag, you know, get the bag, use that money, use that bag to make a Zelda movie. And here we are, fast forward post success, and I'm so happy for what this could mean moving forward with more Nintendo IPs. I mean, Kirby, you could totally do a Kirby one, a Metroid Prime one. There's just so many choices that they could go with that I think would do well for children. And, you know, do it up, Nintendo. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like. If you're new, make sure to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss a single upload. And if you want to support the channel directly, you can do so by checking out my sponsors, Control Freak and Aim Controller. I use them every single time I play. Code OGXRAYZ will give you a discount over there, and then give me a follow over on Twitter if you guys want to talk, see what I'm up to. But anyways, you guys have an awesome day. Take care. I'm out. Peace.